there. Here's Christina from Changing Parenting. And I recently had this mom. She was really struggling because her children, they were always fighting over toys. So what would usually happen would be the younger child was, or let's just an example, the younger child was playing with a toy. The older child would come, take away the toy, and try and give the younger child a replacement toy, like, and then the younger child would throw the other toy on the floor and be like, I don't want this one, I want that one. And then, of course, because the older child was stronger than the younger child, they were able to keep the toy away from the younger child. And then the younger child would start crying and be like, Mama. And this was like something on repeat in our house. So what do you do in situations like this? This is what this video is about. So one thing that is important is that you don't take sides, right? Even though morally you can see that the older child was wrong and the younger child was right in the situation, you don't take sides, because you have to remember that children, they don't do things because they are bad kids or they are, they just need to learn skills. As I always say, every challenging behavior is just your child showing you that they need to learn some skills, right? So in this case, both the younger child and the older child needed to learn skills, because the older child needed to learn, what do I do when I want a toy that another child is playing with? And the younger child needed to learn, what do I do when someone takes away my toy, right? So you have to think about here, not like I am the judge of, I am a referee for my kids. That's not your role as a parent. Your role as a parent is to teach skills. So you always need to check, like, what skills do my children need right now, right? So what would I have liked this to happen, right? What do I want them to do in the future when such situation happens? Because again, it's not about that specific situation in the moment, but actually learning how to deal with all this also in the future, right? So you have to deal with both things, and you can only do that by teaching skills. So the first thing you do is if there is any physical threat, so if one child is hitting the other child, you need to immediately remove the threat. So this is the only situation where you actually physically, divide them and you put yourself between them both, right? So in this case, what you would do is you start with so in this case, because there was no physical harm, so if there was physical harm, you would separate them. You would immediately remove let's say the older child was hitting the younger child, you would immediately remove the younger child and focus on the younger child and ask for their well-being. Like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Should we put, a little bandage on your awa or, whatever, wherever it is. And you would kind of like exaggerate it, so that your older child, like the other child, the child that hurt the other kid, would get that feeling of like, I hurt someone, and when we hurt someone, we need to make sure they are okay and we need to help them get better, right? But if there is no physical, altercation, if it's just them fighting over a toy, then what you do is, let's say in the situation that the older child took away the toy from the younger child, is you would start with the younger child. And the reason why you start with the younger child is because their attention span will be shorter. So if you wait too long to have the conversation with them, they will probably have forgotten already or be already distracted with something else. So you start with the younger child. You bring them aside and you say, and you empathize first, it's really bad when someone takes away our toys, isn't it? That's not fun. That was not nice. It's not nice when someone takes away something that we are playing with. That was not fair, and you did not deserve that, right? So we need to empathize. And then you teach them the skills when they are more calm, when they are able to access the rational part of their brain. That's when you are, so always empathize first to bring that emotional charge down, right? So that they are able then to access the rational part of their brain. And the younger the child, the more you need to focus on bringing their emotions down in order, before you are able to rationalize with them. And the younger the child also, the more straight to the point you need to be. Because again, they will not be able to, endure very complicated explanations. So you would say something like this: when someone wants to take something away that is not yours, what you do is you hold the toy in your hand, and with the other hand you push, not the person, you just push forward to create a barrier, and you say, stop, you don't do this, I am still playing, I still need this. We don't take away toys, that is not nice, you are not being nice, stop, right? You have to teach your child how to defend themselves, not in a way that is harming another child, but just how to impose boundaries, right? Then after you do this, you go to the older child, and then you go on teaching the skills to the other child. And again, it doesn't matter who's right and who's wrong. As I said, every challenging behavior is just your child showing you that they need skills. This means that with the older child, you don't go and start saying, hey, we don't take away toys. No, instead you start by empathizing. And I know that this might sound counterintuitive, like, oh, it's like I'm condoning what they are doing. But it's not at all that, right? It's again just showing your child that their emotions are normal, their actions are not okay. It's okay to feel things, it's just not okay to act in a certain way, to let our emotions run our show. So you will always start to empathize with your child, because that's the only way you'll be able to rationalize with them, right? So you start by empathizing. You really wanted that toy, because that toy is so much fun. And I can see how much fun you have with it. And it looks really so much fun. What is that you enjoyed playing with the most about it? And blah, blah, blah. Just connect enough for them to bring their emotions down, so they are not in that defensive state. And the reason for that is, think about any time that you had a conversation with someone, maybe your partner, maybe someone at work. You need to bring the person out of their defensive state. Because if they are in a defensive state, anything you say, no matter how right you are, the person will just be defending themselves, right? You will not really be able to have a conversation. And this is the same with children, because children are people. I'm always saying that. So even though I have actually another video, 2 videos, where people were telling me that children are like dogs, but yeah, I diverge here. So, and they are not, by the way. Go and check those videos if you're curious. But anyway, so you need to empathize first and really be like, that toy is so much fun, what do you like about that toy? Yeah, it looks so much fun, I really enjoy playing with that toy. Okay, when your child's emotions are down, that's when you go to rationalize. And you say, do you know sometimes when you are playing with something and someone comes and just snatches the toy away? How does that make you feel? It's not good, is it? It's not nice. Nice people don't do that, right? And you want to be a nice person also, right? Because you love your brother and you love other people also, right? You want to be a good person. So even though you wanted to take that toy away because you really wanted to play with the toy, you don't want to do it by snatching something out of someone's hands, right? Because that's not nice, is it? So what can you do instead? Next time, let's think, and the older the child, the more you let them problem solve, the more you let them brainstorm. The younger the child, the more you give them ideas and suggestions. So what could we do instead? Perhaps we could take turns. So you could say, are you still playing with that? I also would like to play with that. Could we take turns? Maybe you can play a little and then I can play a little. Let's shake on that. Okay. Or you can say, what about we play together, right? So there are all these things that you can find ways to, like maybe we can put a timer and you play with this, and when the timer goes off, then it's my turn, things like that. And again, if the older the child, the more you let them, like you start like, what could you do instead? Like next time you want to play with something, what could you do to get that person to lend you their toy, right? Or in this case, it's not anyone's toy, right? The toy belongs to both kids. Of course, if the toy belongs to someone, that person is not forced to lend anyone their toy, right? It's their toy. Any questions? If you need anything, just let me know.